it's Jilly from Jilly's Creative Corner. So this week I was actually asked by a friend if she could come as a one-to-one and make a card for her dad for Father's Day, but also for one for his birthday. And she wanted one of them to be a fancy fold card. She's not a crafter that crafts all the time, so she's sort of at the beginning stages of crafting, so I didn't want to put her off by making anything too difficult. So I found this card design on Pinterest. I can't think of the lady's name at the moment, but I certainly will look it up and let you know before the end of this video. So because it's for a man, she didn't want the normal cars and boats and stuff. So she wanted flowers, but more masculine flowers, and I had just the thing. So it's this stamp set called Enjoy the Moment. So it's that stamp set there. And this stamp set, it does have a stamp that says Enjoy the Moment, but it also says good things are worth waiting for. A little note, so you can make a card to send a note to somebody. It has Happy Birthday on it, and also friendship is found in simple things. So that's the stamp set that I'm going to be using. I'm seeing her Friday, but I thought I would do a video for you guys as well. So this is the card. So the sun is beautiful today. I don't really want to shut the curtains, but so this is the card, and it stands up like so. So you probably will see it better at my desk. I'll show it you again. But it's basically a card like that. It folds flat like that, so it goes in an ordinary sized envelope, but it stands up like that. So I'm just going to go back to my desk and show you how to make this card. It's really simple, so it's not daunting for any beginner crafters. However, it's a really nice stylish looking card for an avid crafter as well. So I'll see you in a second back at my desk. So here we are back at my desk. So here's the card. It lies flat like that, so it will go easily into a C6 envelope, and it sits up like that. So it's like that wide. Sorry, that long, but it folds back like that. And then if you want to write, you can either write in these bits here, or obviously you could write on the back. So it would be a case of writing in those bits on there, or right at the bottom. Okay, so I'll just go ahead and show you how to do it and what products we need. So as I said, this is the stamp set, so it's perfect for a masculine card as well as a feminine card. So I've used this one here and that one there, that Happy Birthday, and these little seeds is that little stamp there. So this time I've used the Pansy Petals design series paper. I used that on my swash book, so you can see other ways to use this paper if you watch my swash book card video. This time I'm going to be using this like gingham colour. That was the back of it, but I want to be able to stamp onto it, so I don't want anything too busy. So that's the paper we're using, and this is what you're going to need. So I've got the measurements down here. So you need a piece of cardstock. So if you have a piece of A4 this is the UK sizes, so a piece of A4 cardstock, and it measures 8 1/4 by 11 3/4, I think it is. So you want to cut the length down to 11 inches, and then cut it on the short side. You want to cut it down so you've got a long piece like this in half, so at 4 1/8. So you actually get two. You can make 2 of these cards out of 1 sheet of A4 paper. So I'm just going to bring in my scoreboard. If you don't have a scoreboard, that's not a problem. You can use your trimmer with the scoring blade. I think all trimmers come with 1 blade and 1 scoring blade, 1 cutting blade and 1 scoring blade. So as I said, if you don't have a scoreboard, I just find scoring really easy on my scoreboard. So this piece here, it measures 11 by 4 1/8. This is the thick basic white cardstock. I always use the thicker one for base cards because it's more sturdy for standing up purposes. So pop it into your trimmer with a score blade or into your scoreboard on the long side. So you want to score it at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. That's 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. So then you want to just fold, make sure it's even each side, and then burnish. And then, so that one will fold in half, and then this one folds backwards. So that is what you want it to look like. You want it to fold this piece here to fold down, and the top piece here to fold back like that. So it's like that. So there's your flat bit there, and then this one here folds up, and this flap here folds back like that. So you've got it like that. And then you can pop that to one side a minute. And then to decorate, okay, so for this paper, this piece here, not this, just this flat piece here. So you want a piece of cardstock first, and that is going to measure 4 inches by 5 3/8. That's 4 inches by 5 3/8. And to go on top of that, you want a piece of pattern paper, 3 7/8 by 5 1/4. That's 3 7/8 by 5 1/4. And then that is going to stick in like that. So you've got a nice even border all the way around. So you want 2 of these because there's one under there as well. So that is these 2. And they measure 2 5/8 by 4. And those are going to sit, one's going to sit in there, one's going to sit up there, and then you've got that piece there, that piece there, and then you want one of these, and that's going to measure 2 1/2 by 3 7/8. That's 2 1/2 by 3 7/8, and that one's going to stick up there at the top. You can put one on here, in which case you would use 2 the same size, but you don't really see it, so it probably, to me, it just gives it a bit of a contrast. Ooh, tip it up. It gives it a bit of contrast just to have it plain under there. So that's how that sits, like that. Then this piece here, you want one piece that is 4 inches by 2 inches. That's the cardstock piece. And then you want a basic white piece that you're going to stamp on. That is 3 7/8 by 1 7/8. and that's going to sit like that. So that's that piece there. And then finally, you've got these three little guys here, because this is, you put these on dimensional, so it's got this piece here, it's got something to sit behind, so it holds it all up. So this piece here, so you need the first piece is a piece of cardstock at 2.5 by 1. The second piece is a piece of DSP or Design Series paper. That is 1 3/4 by 2 1/4. And then in this case, because we just got a little happy birthday, I just need a small piece, which is 1/2 inch by 1.5 inches. Obviously, if you've got a bigger word there, then you just use a bigger piece of paper. And you could make this bigger anyway. You know, it's just I don't need it because it's going to be happy birthday. But you certainly could make this bigger, wider. I just have worked to the size that I need. So what you want to do first of all is take this bit and stick this pattern paper to this piece of cardstock, because we're not going to be stamping on that. And then stick the whole lot to that piece there. Then stick this piece of cardstock just in there. And then keep that piece to one side because we are going to stamp on that. But take this piece and stick it in there. And again, just put a little border all the way round of the white. So I'll just go ahead and do mine, and I'll be back in just a second. Okay, so this is what yours should look like now. You should have a piece of pattern paper on the top piece, the top piece of card that's going to go like that. If you're doing it the same way as me, this piece here will just be cardstock and no pattern paper. And then we've got this piece of pattern paper that we are going to stamp on. So obviously when you're using, if you're going to do this card exactly like me, then you don't want to have anything too fussy, because you are going to be stamping the flowers onto it. So you want something that's like got mottledy, or like for instance with this one I use, this is actually retired paper, but it's got such a blendable, if you like, flower on there. You can stamp over the top of it quite happily, and it doesn't affect the overall effect of what you're wanting to see, which is these seed head things. So you wouldn't want to, for instance, have that, because you're not even going to see what you're wanting to focus on. So that's the only thing I would say about when you're choosing your paper. Go for a subtle background that you are going to be able to stamp on. So I'm going to, with this one, I'm going to use the Cinnamon Cider, which actually is the same colour as this. I think it lends itself beautifully to these sort of seed heads. And it also works really nicely with the pale papia. So for this one here, I want to stamp up this little stamp here. I don't always want the stem all the time, so I would just turn my ink to the side and just pick up, so only a little bit of the stem is, so that I can come in like so. And then I want a bit more, so I'm going to come in like that. Come in at the sides. Okay. That hasn't inked up quite as well, but because it's towards the back, and flowers are never the same, so for me it's a bit faded, but then if you saw that in the wild, that's probably going to be faded. So for me, I'm happy with that. So that now is going to stick onto the base there. Okay, so what we're going to do now is just stick this piece onto the base. I've done all mine with liquid glue just because it gives you a little bit of wriggle room, so you can get it, because we've got quite a tight border, we haven't got masses of space. So put that down. Just gives you a bit of a chance if you get, so it gives you that nice little border all the way around there. Now, what we're going to do now is bring in your basic white piece, and I'm just going to ink up in, again in cinnamon cider, I'm going to ink up this seed head. I want it all on there, so just pop it long ways. So that I can make sure that I've got it all on. There. So what I want to do now is bring in the pale papier and bring in these little seed heads. It's a little tiny stamp with a large, medium and small seed head, and then just fill in, and you only want to see, I've only just daintily done that and I've still got it on the outside edge. You don't want that on the outside edge, you want to get that off, because if you stamp that down it'll smudge. You'll see everything that was on the outside edge will be on your piece, so you only literally have to dab it. So you can do your seed heads randomly. Just every now and again check you haven't got any on the outside edge, because it's a very small stamp set, it's easy to do. Some nice little seed heads everywhere now. So now you just want to glue this onto here. So now what you want to do now, so you've got this on here and you're going to fold that down, so that's lying flat. And then, now there are some of you who will definitely want to measure all this up. I'm a bit of a monkey and I do tend to eyeball. So what I do now, you want the edge of this piece of card here to go to the edge of your cardstock, not the edge of the card, the white bit. You want it to go to the edge of the pale papier or whatever cardstock colour you've used. So you want to lie that down, and then you sort of want to get it even, as in I think I might have made this quite easy for myself because I've got squares. So I want to go 1, 2, 3 and a bit there, 1, 2, 3 and 4 there. But if on this bottom bit it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So you want that to marry up on that bit there. So now what I would do, I'd flip it over, because you're only going to want to glue this top bit up here, but you don't want to be putting it anywhere that it shouldn't be. So now I know that I want 4 of these squares each side. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Just get that over a bit there. There. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my pencil. So I don't want the glue to go any further down than that. So I've just put a couple of lines on there. Put my glue above those lines. You don't want to put so much on it squishes out the sides, but obviously you want to put enough. Now don't put this down. First of all, you want to make sure you've got it in the right place. So for me it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 over the cardstock there. Hold it with that finger there. Make sure it's level there. There. And that means it's not going to overshoot the card for the envelope. You've got it safely on there. Now, you could put happy birthday up there at the moment, so it's stuck like that. Okay. So what you want to do now is you want to know how high you want this to stand up. And this is where this comes in. So if you want it to stand up, if you want it to lie down like that, then you'd put it right down here. I want mine to stand up a bit more than that, so I want it about there. So what you need to do first is, again, I think I made myself an easy job having squares, but I'm not going to stick this at the moment because I am actually going to just ink up. So this is my piece that I will be using, but I'm not sure if I want it to have the yellow or the cider cinnamon. So I'm going to bring in a scrap piece and try it out. And I always recommend that if you've got a scrap piece, you do that, because then you can decide which one you like the best. So it's out of that colour there, and now I'm just going to try and see what this one looks like on it. So when I put it on here, so do you know, I think I'm going to do a mixture of them both. So I do a couple of these first. 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to pop some of these on as well. 1, 2, 3. That's quite pretty actually. So we've got a few of each on there, because that's going to go on like that, and that's going to go on like that. Okay, so now just this little guy here with the happy birthday. I'm going to stamp it on here and make sure, yep, it's fine. if you're new to stamping and you don't do an awful lot, you can by all means use a bigger piece of basic white, stamp it, and then just cut it down around the happy birthday, so that you've just got the happy birthday, not lots of white around it. So what we need to do now is everything needs to go on dimensionals, and the reason for this is because we want this to be as tall as possible, because it's going to be holding up the card. So it's no good making it all flat and hoping that that would stay, because it won't. So you need to, everything is going on dimensional. So first of all, we're going to take the pattern cardstock that we've stamped. And we're just going to pop dimensionals on the back. Oh, it's a nice wasp in here. You want the windows open, but equally you don't fancy having the wasps in. So you want to put that on top of, with a little border all the way round, like that. And then you want to put dimensionals on the back of here as well. So that's nice and high already, and then I'm going to just turn this over and pop more dimensionals on the back of here. Right, so now before you put this down, I've taken the backings off, but you don't want to pop it down yet, because you want to know how high you want this to stand, and that's total preference to you where you want it. I mean, for me, it's quite handy that I've got the squares, so I have got a line to work to. So if I want that to stand up like that, then I don't want to put this down yet, because I want it to be equal distance between this here. I don't want it to be overshooting that way. I want it each side to be fairly equal, and then each side here to be fairly equal. So I think I'm going to pop it down there, like so. So now there's my finished card. And then it just goes down like that. So it looks an amazing card, but it has actually been quite easy to make and quite quick to make. I always think a lot of it is designing the cards and choosing what papers you want to use and what stamp sets you want to use is far more time consuming than making the actual card itself. So that is the one that I've done for the video. This is the one that I did as a sample for my friend to see if that's the sort of thing she wanted to make for her dad, and it was. So on Friday I should be doing a one-to-one with Janet and helping her make a nice card for her dad for Father's Day, and also a birthday card. But this is the one card we will be making. So I really hope you like the card. I will find out, probably put it in my blog, who the lady was that I got the inspiration from. It was definitely on Pinterest, so I'll put it down as soon as I found it. Okay, I hope you like the project, and it's a nice, quick, easy one this time. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.